Hey, Seekers, and welcome back to the Hanged Woman podcast. I'm your host, Julian Irons, and in our last episode, we explored the practical side of past lives with Indra Kelly and how they can show up as patterns or lessons that shape the life we're living now. Today, we're moving into the space where psychology and the mystical meet. The mind, memory, and the mystery of what the subconscious knows. And let's be real, when we hear the phrase past life regression, it can sound a little woo-woo. But at its core, it's a therapeutic process, a way to drop into a relaxed state and let the deeper layers of the mind reveal what's ready to be healed. My guest today is the lovely Jennifer Sleeper, a psychotherapist who bridges traditional therapy with quantum healing hypnosis technique, or QHHT. Jennifer helps clients access the Theta brain state, that space between waking and dreaming where the subconscious, or what Dolores Cannon called the oversoul, can guide them to the time and place where healing needs to happen. Jennifer's work brings a scientific curiosity to the unseen. She doesn't treat regression as proof of reincarnation. She treats it as a conversation with the deeper self. This is the Hanged Woman podcast where perspective is power. Let's get into it. Hey, fellow seekers. I'm taking a quick pause from the show to share something really close to my heart. And honestly, the only reason you're even listening to this podcast right now. It's Three of Cups. My sisters and I created Three of Cups, an Iron Sisters mission of love, as a space for healing, beauty, growth, and community, because we believe life is meant to be full, rich, and abundant in every way. We offer all kinds of ways to support you. Energy healing, heart-centered art, even marketing that will help you enhance your brand's presence in the world. Because wherever you are in your journey, we want to help you feel seen, supported, and empowered. So if you're looking for something to help fill your cup in whatever way you need, come join us. Follow us on Instagram at 3 of Cups Healing, or explore all of our offerings at 3ofcupshealing.com. Because Seeker, your cup deserves to be full. And now, back to the episode. Yay, Jennifer Sleeper. I am so excited to have you on our science episode of Past Lives. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
So why don't we start by you telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the work that you do?
I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, so I've been doing that for 16 years. But how I got into past life stuff, regression, QHHT, probably started around 2021, 22, when we had all that time when the pandemic started. I feel like either people had a really shitty time or they had some sort of spiritual awakening. Luckily, I had some sort of like spiritual awakening kind of thing. So a friend of mine told me about Dolores Cannon, and I had also read the book Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss, which is a great book. So discovered Dolores Cannon, read her book. She has many books. So I read the Three Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth. And that just ignited something in me. And then I took her level 1 course.
Is that how you first discovered hypnosis, or is that how you first discovered quantum healing hypnosis technique?
That's how I first discovered the QHHT. I've always been aware of hypnosis, understood hypnosis, but I didn't really put any thought into it. I just thought it was like, I thought it was BS. Growing all my life, I was like, oh, this is just for helping somebody quit smoking or lose weight or whatever.
Yeah. So for listeners who might not be familiar with QHHT, what exactly is it and how does it differ from our standard hypnotherapy?
Yeah, it differs pretty significantly. Traditional hypnosis is just suggestive based or symptom focused. QHHT accesses the subconscious, so the oversoul, the higher self. That essentially we want healing. The traditional hypnosis is where people may want suggestions, subliminal suggestions of quitting smoking, losing weight. Regression is different. Regression, that term is past life. Regression hypnosis is accessing past lives. And Dolores developed her own induction where you get the person in theta. That's the relaxation where you're going under. And QHHT invites the subconscious.
What's actually happening in somebody's brain when we drop into the theta state?
So the theta state, that is when we are quieting that critical mind. That critical mind relaxes, and then the subconscious becomes more accessible. In that state, we're bypassing the analytical prefrontal cortex. That's where we judge, that's where we critical think, have all those, is this BS? That's the conscious mind. Right now, we're in beta. We're thinking, we're figuring out Zoom and all that stuff. When you're in theta, you are going into the part of the brain that is not the conscious mind. The client goes into theta when I'm regressing them, and we are accessing the part of the brain that has all of the images and the memories. So you're going into that meditative state where it's this dreamy state. Do you know when you're like about to fall asleep and you're in that dream wake state and you get these profound thoughts, the downloads, whatever you want to call it? That's that state where it's like you're relaxed and you can just chill and let it come through.
I know in like manifestation work, Neville Goddard calls that state a state akin to sleep. Is that kind of similar?
Yeah, theta is you're still aware, but delta is sleep. Delta is you're out sleeping. What's going on in the brain, you're bypassing the analytical prefrontal cortex, and then you enter the limbic and emotional centers of the brain. That's where the memory, imagery, and healing can intertwine. It's not like fantasy or anything.
Right. It's not like fantasy. It's
No,
actually what is actually really scientifically happening in our brain when we are in theta state.
correct, correct.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's so interesting that you said it's not fantasy. Why do we think that it's fantasy?
Well, that's just the prefrontal cortex going into the judging. There are people that it's very difficult for them to go under. So I'm quoting Dolores here in all of her lectures. She mentions this a lot, where people who are very analytical, like your businessmen, and she would say the men that are on Wall Street, your men in suits and all that stuff. And this is from her experience. They are like absolutely so dominant in their prefrontal cortex that they cannot go under.
Mhm.
They're just, they don't, and you don't, they don't trust. You have to trust. You have to trust me and feel safe with me.
You're also trained in something called EMDR, which is rooted in trauma psychology. How do you see regression and EMDR complementing each other?
Just beautifully compatible. EMDR, eye movement desensitization, reprocessing. EMDR helps to desensitize and reprocess trauma that we hold in our nervous system, whether it's we were bullied in school and we hold that, or we were in a bad car accident
In this life.
in this life. We were in a bad car accident, sexual assaults. I do specialize in sexual assault with EMDR and help people with that. EMDR clears the charge.
What does that mean to clear the charge?
So if you're in a trauma, PTSD, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, those are what happen when we're in a trauma response. So if a woman was sexually assaulted and she is afraid of men and can't leave the house, I'm just being very general here.
Yeah.
So she won't leave the house. She's terrified of men. She's terrified of men with, I'm going to say, a mustache as an example. And she's just terrified, even in a safe area. She's terrified of everybody, afraid to leave her house. EMDR will help that, where it's dysfunctionally stored in the limbic system in the part of the brain, because that's trauma. It's dysfunctionally stored memory.
The limbic system is where our trauma is stored.
Correct. So that's dysfunctionally stored memory where a negative cognition is developed. I am not safe. I cannot leave my house. That is irrational. You are not going to always be unsafe. These irrational fears develop. EMDR clears those trauma responses, the intense fear, fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Yeah, that charge.
Ah, that charge. Got it.
Or primal scream is another one.
That's along with fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. There's also primal scream.
Correct. When people have just screaming, like in a horror movie, so to speak, Freddy Krueger's after you. I know that it happens in night terrors.
All right, so we have EMDR that clears the charge, and then where does regression come into play?
So then QHHT helps to connect it to the soul's larger story, because our soul also has memory that comes into this life. So a lot of us, we have talents that we don't know where we got them from. Together, the EMDR and then the QHHT is both very grounding and expansive. So science, spirit coming together, working hand in hand. So I have a client, she's afraid of the freeway, won't drive the freeway. Nothing has ever happened to her on the freeway. Nothing. Never been in a car accident. Why? Where is that coming from? Is it just LA?
And you're saying that's something that her soul brought to this life.
That's what I believe. Yes. That's just one of the examples that I'm pulling in here to help put reference to it.
Yeah. And that feels very freeing as well, because I think a lot of us do have these fears that don't feel logical. There's nothing in our life that we can say it came from this thing, but I just have this illogical fear. And I feel like that's a freeing thought to know that it came from a life before this life that our soul brought here. So it's not like anything that's wrong with us, it's just in your soul. And there's a way to release it through QHHT.
Exactly. And just that's perfectly said. And just having that understanding so we don't gaslight ourselves.
I have this terrible fear that I'm gonna get my eye stabbed out by a sharp object. And I obviously, like, I've never had my eye stabbed out by a sharp object before, ever in my life, but ever since I can remember,
And have you ever seen that happen?
I'm sure I've seen it in like a scary movie or something like that. You know what I mean? But like,
But you feel it.
I
You
feel
see,
it.
you feel
Yeah.
it happening. It's a memory.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of things happen in scary movies. You know what I mean? Like people
Yeah.
get stabbed, necks getting cut off. Like, come on, anybody seen Saw? So like it's
Right.
but like this
Right.
is a very specific fear that I cannot remember not ever having. And now I'm like, oh my God, did one of my past lives get their eye stabbed out with a sharp object? And that's why I have this irrational fear?
I'm just saying. I would,
Holy moly.
yeah, yeah.
I never thought about it like that.
And it's so interesting. I got to tell you, when I was like going up to Lake Arrowhead as a kid, it's a terrifying road for me up there. And I would have to get to the bottom of the car. And so I couldn't see how high up we were. My throat's closing right now thinking of that shit. And my sister's out the window, like, ah, and I'm just freaking out. That past life didn't come up for me when I did a QHHT session with somebody. That life, I don't know. I still don't know.
Yeah, so fascinating. So Dolores Cannon, who you've said you've learned from, she describes the subconscious as an all-knowing part of the self. From your clinical and personal experience, how do you define the subconscious?
I just think it's our higher self. It's just something beyond us that is still part of us that we have connection to, and we can access it. We all can access it. We just have to get into that state. We have to trust and believe and know that it's there. Get into that theta state. And from the clinical piece, I think what I've seen that blocks it is fear of the unknown. So it's allowing the trust to be there. I don't want to get into religion or anything, but people do pray and talk to things that are bigger than them, higher than them, out of my control. What's out of my control? People say the serenity prayer, and that can also be cognitive behavioral. People have religious trauma as well. I have to be careful with that one, but it is very cognitive behavioral. What do I control? What don't I control? And what is the difference between the two?
Okay, so let's talk about how the regression session actually works, because people sometimes see scenes or imagery from other lifetimes. But how do you help clients interpret what they experience without leading them toward a specific story?
Oh, it's brilliant. Absolutely. This is the whole thing that we were really trained on. Because that's a very important question, because we have to be very careful. We have to ask only open-ended questions. When the client is under, I have to help the client get the scene that they're in. Where are they? Where did they land? look at the ground. Where are you? Oh, I'm on sand. I'm going to talk about my QHHT experience here. So when I landed, I was in sand. I was like in the Middle East in the dunes somewhere or in Egypt. I don't know.
Can I just get clarification of what you mean by landed?
Yeah. Okay. So when I'm doing the induction, I'm guiding them and they're on a cloud and then they're floating, going back in time. And then I say, okay, you're going to come down off the cloud. Please gently come off the cloud. You're gently coming off the cloud, just like a leaf drifting out of a tree. Where are you? What do you see?
And that's landed.
Yeah. So then they're in the life or they're in this life at some time. I had a client that went into her mother's
Mm.
womb waiting to be born, and she was
Mm.
figuring out if she really wanted to come here.
Wow. Okay. So you landed in sand.
I was in sand and then I was looking around and then I was like, I see it's still so clear. And I did this 3 years ago. And I saw a beautiful tent that was very elaborate and beautiful and ornate. And I was guarding this tent. And I think I was like, I wasn't sure, but what I thought I was a guard for Cleopatra.
And are you seeing through your own eyes, or are you like an observer watching a scene?
With my physical eyes, no, it's my mind's eye.
No, I guess what I'm just saying, in your mind's eye, are you seeing the tent as if you're seeing it through whoever you were in that life? Or are you like an observer watching whoever you were in that past life guarding a tent?
Oh, that's a good question. It was both. It was so weird because it felt like I was there, me, Jennifer Sleeper, I was there, but I was also him looking like I looked down and I saw my feet and the sandals that I was wearing. And I looked down and I had these skinny, hairy legs that were men legs.
Ooh.
Comedy, right? Yeah, yeah. I had these like gladiator.
Wow.
I looked like a gladiator dude or something. It was so interesting. And I had all this ornate stuff and it was like a royal guard.
So, when you're working with the client, then you ask them a question, and based on their answer, you follow up with an open ended question, and the session goes on like that, right?
Correct. I build on their responses. Yeah. So it's, what do you see? Oh, okay. What else do you see around you? Look down at your feet. What do you see? Are you male, female? Are you young, old, healthy, unhealthy? And then back to the imagery, because we're in theta, right? We're accessing all that. And then we can see, we can hear, we can sense, maybe even smell, maybe even taste. Those are the two hardest, smell and taste.
It's just hard for our brain to like go there.
Yeah.
So I feel like some people might see this work and these images as purely symbolic, right? Like your gladiator example, being in the womb example, something symbolic of what your subconscious mind has seen and the message that it's trying to get across to you. Why do you think that this can still bring profound healing, even if we don't take all of the images literally?
The subconscious speaks through metaphor and it uses our experience. It's almost like a conduit. Our brain is like the conduit that we're getting the information from, right? So the psyche, it doesn't care whether if it's historically verifiable. It just wants when this work, it just wants the resolution. So when someone releases the guilt, the fear, grief through a story, their body and nervous system still integrate the healing. And whatever their experience is, they're there for healing. And I tell them this, I say, even if you think you're making it up, you're not.
And that's part of where that trust comes in as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then they just, boom, they're right there seeing amazing things. And some of them have said, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I've never seen this before.
Wow.
Where did that come from? I don't talk like that. Where did that word come from? I don't know that word. Okay. And then they keep going.
So whether or not a prefrontal cortex sees it as a past life or can accept it as a past life, or whether a prefrontal cortex accepts it as a subconscious metaphor, either way, it's still allowing our subconscious to heal.
And the body.
And the body, it's still allowing our body to heal.
Yes, because the body holds memory and the body speaks to us.
So, when we're in a session, how do you, as the therapist, discern whether what's surfacing is a past life, an early life memory, or the subconscious expressing emotion through metaphor? How can we tell what's what?
That's when the questions help, because I don't initially. That's when all those questions are helpful. And also when we're doing the interview. So when I sit down with the client before the induction, like I'm sitting there getting to know them for almost an hour and a half to 2 hours. We're sitting there. I'm just getting your whole biopsychosocial. So I'm getting all of the players in your story, in your play of life, right? Mom, dad, the stepdad, the exes, the boss, whoever the names of these people, and also the year you were born. And you just tell me, like, you say, oh, it's this life. It's me now. They just say it.
Because if you're born in 1980 and you have a memory of being a gladiator back in the day, we know that's not this life.
Absolutely. And skinny black-haired legs.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not a memory
No, I
from
do
this
not have
life. No.
curly, hairy legs.
Man legs.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. So, Jennifer, I'm so excited because I'm going to be experiencing a full regression with you very soon. I'm like excited and I'm nervous because I don't know what to expect. And like this conversation is actually giving me, I don't know, it's giving me some like relief, like some like, okay, like, because really what I'm hearing is like, I just have to go and I have to trust the process, you know? So, other than like trusting, what should someone know or do to prepare for this type of session emotionally or mentally?
I do send a prep to the client before. You read through this and you have to say, I have a clear and direct communication with my higher self. And you can't drink or anything like that because you have to be really clear.
Like no alcohol, no substances.
No drinking, none of that. And alcohol disconnects us from that stuff anyway.
How long before the session?
I would say like a couple of days.
Okay.
And day of, not an excessive amount of coffee. It depends on the time of day we're meeting too.
Is that because coffee is a stimulant?
Yes, that's right. It depends on how much you drink. I wouldn't have a bunch of cups of coffee or anything like that. And you have a list of questions that you want to ask the SC, the subconscious, the oversoul. And I give you some examples. Some of those examples are primarily like, why do I have this chronic illness? Why do I have this chronic pain? Why was I in that relationship? What did that mean? Why do I feel stuck or blocked in my career? Am I on the right spiritual path? These are just examples to get the brain cranking. How many lives have I lived? And the session that I did just yesterday, she answered right away. She was like, oh, 30.
So that's like all the physical stuff, the mental stuff. What about emotionally? How do we prepare ourselves?
If it's prior to the session, because you start to relax with me during the interview, the nerves leave after you and I have spoken. After I sit, we chat, we got a nice room, I get your story, and you start to relax. You start to trust. You start to feel safe.
So even if there are nerves ahead of time, by the time we're done with our Q&A session, we feel more comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you really did feel that anxious prior to it, maybe I would suggest doing some grounding type of things. Put your feet in the earth. Listen to some sound bath music, solfeggio frequencies.
Okay, Seekers, I think this is a really great place to take a break. We'll be right back with the episode. Every successful business needs that aha moment, the spark where your passion meets your purpose and your vision connects with the people who need it most. At the Magician's Vision, a branch of Three of Cups, we believe that moment begins with intuition. It's not just a feeling, it's your most powerful business tool. In tarot, the magician represents power, inspired action, and the deep knowing that everything you need is already within reach. Wands for passion, pentacles for abundance, swords for communication, cups for creativity. Together, they form the foundation of powerful, soul-aligned business strategies. As part of Three of Cups, the Magician's vision is here to help bring your vision to life, using the power of intuition, the magic of creativity, and the wisdom of experience to build meaningful connections with your community and grow your business with heart. Your vision, your magic. Let's make it real and fill your cup at threeofcupshealing.com. And now, back to the episode. So earlier in the episode, you mentioned the oversoul. What is that?
There's levels on the other side in the subconscious world. Okay, there's a lot that I still don't understand because I'm still an earthling. We're still on Earth and we forget. When we come here, we forget all this stuff, reportedly, forget who we are. The oversoul is like the highest realm of advancement, of knowing, the highest advancement of the soul. That's the best way I can put it for now.
And so when we're in a regression session, it is our oversoul that is allowing us to remember our past lives.
That gets a little complicated. I believe so. That is what is happening. But we remember, our soul remembers. So our soul is remembering. And when we get to the subconscious, when I say, may I please speak to subconscious, that is the higher realm that is giving us the answers. Everybody has their own guides.
And everybody has their own oversoul.
Yes, everybody has their own guides. Now, Dolores Cannon's books will be able to explain this much better than I can because she has years and years of experience with this, speaking to the SC, speaking to the subconscious. The book, Between Death and Life, that is the book that explains it. It's a little complicated because it does get beyond my comprehension of certain things that I am still in the process of learning.
I guess we're all in a continuous cycle of constant learning.
That's why we're here.
Right?
That's why our soul's here. Yes.
That's why we're here. Yeah.
To learn, work through karma. Karma can be good. It's all a lesson. The session that I did yesterday, she has conflict with her mom. She was the mother in a past life, and her mom in this life was the daughter. So they're trying it again. They're trying to work through things. One has to learn to relax. One needs to learn to be more organized.
So what kind of breakthroughs or patterns do you often see your clients uncover through regression?
The personal questions that they've asked, one of the main ones is like the chronic pain. If I'm getting an answer like, oh, they fell and hit their knee, no, we got to go past that. It's something more. In this work, it's something more. For example, it could be fear. So I ask, when did this happen? What life did this occur? And the client, she knows this, they say. She knows this already. She holds fear. She's afraid of moving forward. She doesn't take care of herself. She takes on too much of the responsibility and ignores herself. And I say, where did this come from? What life did this happen? How long ago? How many lives ago? And then maybe they'll tell me, maybe they'll just say, maybe they'll give me an exact number of lives ago. Maybe they'll say, in one life, she did this and never took care of herself.
So she has this discovery of this past life. I didn't take care of myself. Because she has that realization, how does that help her in this life release that chronic pain or break the patterns that she's been experiencing?
I ask the subconscious to do the healing. I say, can you please do a body scan? This is where the conscious mind will try to come in. And I speak about the client in the third person. So could you help Jennifer heal this? She has this pain in her left side.
And you're talking to the subconscious mind in the third person.
Correct.
Ah, got it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's what I'm doing. So Jennifer is complaining, is saying she needs help with this. She has this pain in her left leg. What is going on here? She was hit by a car in a past life and she died shortly after. Okay, she's suffering pretty bad today because she can't move her leg very well. Can you please clear this? Can you heal this? And if they're like, no, she needs to go to the doctor. That's the conscious mind. And I'm like, I know that you can do Miracles, she came all this way for healing from you. I know that you can do amazing things. You can do miraculous things. No, we can't. No, it's just, she just needs to rest. Conscious mind, I can't settle for that.
So you're basically talking the subconscious mind into what is it? Like letting go enough to do the healing?
Letting go enough, pushing the conscious mind out of the way, so to speak.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm pushing that aside. And I'm just by doing that, keeping that up,
Hmm.
then I'm accessing. Just talk to me. I'd like to speak to subconscious. And I say the person's name. Can you please help Jennifer with this?
And then what's an example of you knowing for sure that you're talking to the subconscious and not the conscious?
I watched the body. I did a session on somebody, and this was where I really knew when they stopped fidgeting. Because even in the past
Okay.
life, when they're talking about their past life, they're doing it beautifully. They're telling me everything. They're seeing these images. It's great. We're moving forward to an important day when something's happening. It's great. Still fidgeting a little bit, still moving around.
So it's like the body is not yet comfortable to release, to allow, to trust for the subconscious mind to take over. And so it like fidgets and
They're not deep enough in the
mm,
hypnosis, in the theta state, but I want to get them deeper into the
mm.
subconscious. And then what happened, what I saw with this one lady, she was playing with her hair tie. And sometimes this is what I heard, and I had just watched a video the night before this session, and they were talking about how the body glitches, so to speak. There's like a "grr," and then boom, she was frozen, didn't move. Her body wouldn't move. And I was speaking to the subconscious for real.
So does your client know, do they have some conscious thought happening when they're in this state? Because they're not in the delta state, so they're not fully asleep. Is there some awareness happening for them?
1,000%, 1,000%.
Okay.
Yes, you're right. That is exactly what's going on. There is an explanation for that because we are, to get a little more weird here, because we're evolving. So this comes from the Three Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth book. Because we are evolving and going into the new Earth, things are changing. The Earth's frequency is rising and we are evolving. So we have strands of DNA, not just the double helix. We have coded DNA strands. There's a total of 12, and we are developing more strands. When Dolores Cannon was doing her hypnosis, she was developing all of this in the 80s and 90s and developing the QHHT Academy and all this stuff. People would come out of it. She'd bring them out of the hypnosis, but people would be like, "Oh my God, I don't remember shit." They're like, "I don't remember anything." But because of these strands that are developing within us, and we're more aware. So the clients that I've done it on, they're aware. There's a sense of awareness.
So you're saying from the time Dolores Cannon started the work until now, we've evolved as humans so much so that we can now be aware, whereas before, when she was doing it, they were not aware. That
Yeah,
is fascinating.
man, it is crazy because we're starting to remember. Do you know who Bashar is?
Yeah, I know who Bashar is.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I love that man.
Can you explain who Bashar is for people who don't know?
So Daryl Anka channels Bashar, and Bashar is an ET of one of our galactic friends that is the future life of Daryl Anka.
Oh, I didn't know that. So who he's channeling is one of his future lives.
Correct.
Whoa!
Boom.
So cool. I did not know
Right?
that.
Now, just to throw a wrench in this a little bit to confuse you even more, like they attach shit to his brain to check his brain waves. He could go into delta.
And still be channeling.
Yeah.
And when you say we're starting to remember, what do you mean by that? Remember what?
Eventually, we're really going to remember our lives, all of our past lives, and who we were, who we are, because all of that stuff that the soul remembers, we're starting to remember. So it's blending. It's starting to merge, reportedly. Reportedly.
Is there an example of a client's regression that you think would help people understand the benefit of QHHT?
This is just fun, a fun little tidbit here where people can maybe relax. So she went into a life as a woman who had to pretend to be a man because she designed furniture in the 1700s. And she and I fact checked this, and there were a group of women that did this in England and in France. So you either had to be related to a man in order to do this. That was the only way that you could be the apprentice or whatever. So she had to dress up as a dude. And she was in a totally different outfit. She was like dressed as a dude, had her hair slicked back, and was on cobblestone streets. And I took her to her house. I said, let's go to where you eat and sleep, okay? So she goes there, Zoom's there. And then I'm like, what do you eat? And she's, I don't know what this is. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I've never seen this food before. I was like, what is it? What does it look like? I don't really remember what it was. It was some stew. And she was even able to describe the plates that she was eating off of. And then we talk afterwards, and I also have to take them through the death scene.
Oh, you take them through that live's death scene.
Correct.
Do you do that for every life?
I have to,
You have to,
except for this current life.
except for this current life. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I can't do that.
Why do you have to do that?
It just completes it. It completes the whole thing. And the death scene is very important.
Why?
How did we die? How did I die in that past life? What happened?
Hmm. Oh, because that can help inform things that are happening in this life.
Correct.
Got it.
Like the girl who was murdered, my client who was murdered in a
Mm.
past life. That's how she died.
Maybe I died through getting a sharp object stuck in my eyeball.
It could be. It could be. You could
Maybe
have,
that's why.
seriously,
Yeah.
you could have totally been impaled through the eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how you died in the past life.
Yeah. Mm. So after somebody has a regression with you and gets to experience their past lives, whichever lives that come through, what is the best way to process and integrate it so the healing becomes something sustainable?
Yeah, that's right. That's important too. So when I bring them out and they're groggily getting up, we have a little chit chat after and we just talk. But the main thing is because I record the sessions, they have to listen to it and it builds on it. It builds on the healing and the therapy, quote unquote, the therapy of it. Because it's really validating. It's just so validating. Like yesterday, my client, she's in my private practice and something horrible happened to her. She was mugged in this life. And then yesterday, we find out that she was, again, a cobblestone street. So I'm thinking Europe. She just was walking home or something. And then she turned the corner and got stabbed, died. That's a traumatic death.
And so we listen back to what the session was. And then how do we then take what we've learned from the session and use it in our daily life?
It depends on what the SC has said. When you bring me your questions, we're going to get those answered. And then you listen to it. In my experience with the clients that I've regressed, they don't necessarily remember everything. And it's just helpful. Even in the conscious state, you're like, oh, I want to listen to that again. This may be something that I forgot. I want to get a refresh here. So they have to listen to the recording and it just helps. Oh, okay. The SC recommended I do this because they recommend, oh, you have to eat this food. They'll even tell you what to eat. One client was told she needs to go to the beach, the water in the evening, and she will get healing from the moon.
So cool. Okay, so that's why we're listening back. We're listening back to like get the actual tangible steps that our subconscious mind has told us to do in order to heal.
Correct. Correct.
Right, right.
And if they're
Mm.
stuck in their career or something like that, the SC will give a timeline also. In the next year, she will leave her job. She will meet someone. So they know.
Like what did Dolores Cannon call it? She called it the all-knowing part of the self. And so that's taking it so much further. It's like all-knowing, like past, present, and future.
It's all happening at the same time. That's why.
Right, because it's not linear.
Correct. Yeah, it's all happening at the same time. So in Five Lives Remembered,
Is that a Dolores Cannon book?
that's her very first book. That's when because her husband, this was in like 1968, they were doing, because her husband was doing hypnosis. She's an army wife, right? She was an army wife. So they were doing hypnosis on some lady, and then she went into all these past lives. It was so cool. And all of a sudden, the SC comes in, and they were like, "What the hell is this? Who is this?" They were freaked out, and that's how they discovered it.
Oh, wow.
And they asked about themselves. I can't really do that unless I get permission from the client, because it's over the years of her developing this and training us and everything and the students. It's unethical for me to take advantage of the client while they're in that state for my own personal gain.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
So she was told that they're going to have grandchildren, right? But her husband was in a terrible accident, totally crushed his body. And they were like, he's going to die. And she was like, nope, I don't believe it. She was like, because I was told that we're going to have grandchildren. And he lived.
Again, trust coming in. It's not just trust being in the session, it's trust in what comes out of the session and the advice that the SE is telling us to take and to believe in and to know.
Yeah,
Mm.
they know. They know. She always says, they know.
Jennifer right now is pointing her finger up into
Yeah,
the air, like they know,
they
like
know, right? Yeah,
our higher beings, a higher self that
yeah.
knows what's
I'm
out.
pointing up into the ether.
It's pointed up into the ether.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
love
awesome.
it.
So it's not linear, like you said. It's all happening at the same time. This one lady that I worked with, we were in her past life. I directed her forward to an important day when something important is happening. And the past life lady was getting married. I was like, what's happening? What's going on? She was like, oh, she's off to the side. She stepped away from the wedding. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, what is she doing? What does she want to tell us? Why did she step away from the wedding? Did people see her step away? She was like, she stepped away to talk to us. And I was like freaking out. Okay. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? Okay. I was nervous. I'll be real. I was like, okay, just go with it. I'm just going to ask questions. Just go with it. Just get curious. AF. Just get curious. So the three of us were there. So I was like, wait a minute. Does she know you're there? Yeah, she stepped away from the wedding to talk to us. I was like, wait a minute, does she know I'm here? Does she know about me? Yeah, she knows about you. She wanted to come and talk to us. I was tripping.
I mean, yeah, I can understand why you were tripping.
All right.
And was there like a clear distinction between her voice and your client's voice?
No, that's a good question though.
I guess I'm not even asking like sound wise, but just like in how each one thought. Like, could you tell who was the past life and who was the present? Just like based on how they were like having conversation or holding conversation?
Not until she went to the SC,
Got it.
because she's the one that glitched.
Ah.
Yeah, because then when they're in the SC, they get a little monotone. No, yes, she knows what to
Oh.
do. She needs to do this. Yeah, they get a little
Mm.
monotone ish, very calm and peaceful.
So, Jennifer, from all your years of doing this amazing work, what has surprised you the most about the relationship between the mind, memory, and the soul?
Wow, I'm still in that process. The most amazing thing is that we're just evolving and starting to remember. Discovering all of this and doing this work and speaking to a voice that is beyond me is the most miraculous thing. I am speaking to an entity that is way beyond me. And it blows my mind. It just blows me away. It's pretty cool.
I know we talked about like frequencies and how we're learning that we're able to tap in a way when we're in the theta state differently than we were before. But is there scientific evidence that talks about this entity, that talks about this entity actually existing and that it's like a real thing and not just like something that we're creating in the woo-woo world?
They're discovering these things, they're discovering things that there's evidence, NDEs, near-death experiences. That's evidence-based. That's real. Dr. Stephen Greer, he's got evidence, got photographs of ETs, of the energy. So this is evidence of something that is beyond us, that we can't explain.
It's like somehow we have these bits of scientific evidence, but it's almost as if like we don't yet have the science capabilities to truly fully prove it, like gravity exists. Like we don't have the mechanisms, the machines, not yet, right?
Yeah.
So fascinating. Well, this has been such a wonderful conversation, Jennifer. Where can people find you if you'd like to be found?
My website is jennifersleeperpsychotherapy.com, and my Instagram is jennifersleepermft, at jennifersleepermft. Yes, and I'm also at Thrive Health and Wellness.
Jennifer, do you feel complete?
I do.
Amazing.
Oh my goodness. I love when science meets woo-woo. I love it. It just really gives me so much joy because it's just the unknown. It's just, there's so many things as human beings that we just don't know. There's so many things that we do know, but there's so many things that we have yet to discover. And talking about past lives in this way from a scientific perspective just made me so excited for what we could discover next. Like what's going to happen next? I don't know what's going to happen next in the scientific world of past lives beyond this episode, but I do know what's going to happen next week. And it's going to be a past life regression session that I do with Jennifer. And you guys, it's kind of wild. I feel a little bit vulnerable about sharing with you, but there's also that journalist inside me who's like, I cannot wait to share it. So stay tuned. It's gonna be weird. I'm Julian Irons, and this is the Hanged Woman podcast, where perspective is power. If you're inspired, please like, share, and follow so we can keep the conversation going. Until next time, hang in there, seekers.